Welcome back, everyone.
Hey everyone!
Welcome to Happy Life Results book reading group.
With the author Stacy McPherson.
Nice to see you guys.
We are in stage 3, the hero stage, where we are talking about turning these concepts into practical application. So it's like if we've been studying the theories of weight training or something, and we haven't actually picked up any weights yet. This is the stage where we pick up the weights.
Yes.
And so there are different, we have a little bit different techniques and tools and tips that are needed when you go to pick up the weights, and so that's why we're talking about this stuff now.
Yeah, because if someone just taught you in theory how to lift weights and said, okay, you have this muscle group working and you need to keep your joint at this angle, and you never actually practiced it, you wouldn't even be able to know if you were going to be doing it with proper form or not, because you would just have the theory and you'd be thinking about it. So you actually have to try it out and then see, do I have the proper form? Observe yourself and practice, and then make it muscle memory, make it so that it's instinctive. That's just how I lift weights. Like, for example, can I really quick say we're in section where we're headed?
Oh, sure, yeah.
I just want to say that. So when you lift weights for a long time and you use proper form for a long time, that's when you go to do that weight, you just are going to use proper form because you've done it so long and you've done it correctly every time. Whereas if you're a beginner, it seems like every single time you're conscious, like, am I using proper form? Is everything lined up? Am I doing it right? I don't want to injure myself. So it's kind of like that. So if we were to extend the analogy and say at the beginning, you're questioning, you're like, is this up? Is this the way to do it? Is this the way to apply it? Like, you're asking yourself a lot. And then when you start to see evidence where you're feeling the way that you want to feel optimally, you're in a peak state more and more consistently, then you'll be like, oh, this is what it feels like. And we actually came up with a term for it. We call it recordizing. So it's where you observe, and you can do this with a skill that you already have, that you've already learned. So for example, our son plays drums, and when he plays a section of the drum or the section of the song that he knows really well, there will be a feel to it. In addition to actually seeing that he's playing all of the notes in the rhythm in the right places, there will be a feel. He describes it. Yeah,
you kind of rest into this groove of feeling where things are kind of flowing at the right rhythm, and it's not I'm going to hit this note, and then I'm going to hit this note, and I'm going to hit this note.
Yes, anyone who does sports or things like that have felt this, where they are just doing it correctly, effortlessly, and they're not even consciously thinking of the exact movement while it's happening. It's almost like it's just happening, and they're the observer. It's a little bit of the observer effect, because you don't need to use your conscious mind to decide how to do it, because you've already learned it. You've already practiced it. So that feel we call recordizing. So I'm sure you have something like that where you've recordized something. So think about it. What have you done that you just do instinctively, and there's a feel to it? And you don't have to think about what you're doing. And then that word recordizing will apply to up, because as you are more familiar with what up feels like, what it feels like to be in peak state, and then it's so much more than just what you're doing with your body. It's a whole person thing. And so just pay attention to when you're doing it in other areas, and then practice doing it with up.
Oh, and the recordizing, just to kind of re-emphasize, the reason we came up with that term was there are too many. If we were to try to break down everything that's happening for our conscious mind and say, this is what I'm doing when I'm playing the drums exactly right, it would be a big, long thing. But if it's just, this is the right feel, all of these things are happening, this is what I want to recreate the next time I play the drums, that kind of recordize, like, yes, all of that stuff happening feels like this is the feel, the kind of the feel that I want.
Yeah.
Right. It's more than this is how you're not doing the mechanics at that point.
No.
So we learn the mechanics, but then when you get the feel, that's when you kind of recognize, like, yeah, this is what I want to recreate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
All right, so where are we headed?
Okay, hero. We are headed directly into the uncharted territories of the subconscious. We're flying straight into the sun. I'm not talking about NLP, rapid hypnotherapy, or other external techniques. I'm talking about using the same process you used as a baby to learn language.
Okay, and NLP is neuro-linguistic programming. It's in a lot of other programs. She's not talking about that. What is she talking about?
Yeah.
All of the theoretical ideas, strategies, lenses, analogies, experiments, everything the guide is about to give you is designed with the sole purpose of convincing the sun inside of you that there's a better place to be and then holding on for the ride into the air.
You will use the same simple but powerful processes you used as a child to send a new system from the conscious, methodical brain into the instinctive, high-powered subconscious level of your being. And once it's there, your ability to fly will be forever powered by the incredible force of the never-sleeping solar power inside you.
Exciting. Yeah. And it's interesting because we have this amazing capacity, the subconscious mind, the solar power, all of that. Well, I was about to move into question and answer mode, but why do you think it's not so simple to just pick a direction and then go there for most people? What gets in the way? Why doesn't it work? What's happening when they're not flying and they want to be flying?
Yeah, one of the ways I like to look at it, and this is purely Stacy. This is not in the book. This is not even how I recommend doing it for you, because you've got to translate it yourself and apply it yourself in a different way. But one of the ways that I like to think of it is I like to think about, and we're going to go into this more in the next few parts of it, in the next few sections, so it'll make more sense as we go along. But I like to think of me with the conscious and the subconscious parts and think about what is the most ideal partnership between the two. And when I think about any partnership working well, like maybe a partnership in a business or a marriage or anything where people are working together, and I think about what is it that they're doing, what is it that makes that relationship work well, because we have a partnership with our subconscious, and we're going to talk about different models about this, and so it's going to make sense later. But just me personally, when I think about how partnerships work well, it will be unique to the partnership how it's working, but how the ways that would keep it from working are pretty universal. So how it works is unique to you personally, how you will work with your subconscious, but how you can mess it up, how you can like make the partnership not be good is pretty universal. And so you could actually ask yourself a bunch of questions like, what do I think about what would make a relationship not work or a partnership not work?
Interesting.
So I've done that in my mind quite often, and then looked for that kind of partnership where we're communicating, where there's trust, where there's equality, where there's communication, actually, where there's observation, and changing, tweaking small things, making small adjustments, and being open to a flow of information instead of just thinking what the other person's thinking or what the other person needs or how it's going to all work out. There's a kind of an openness and a flexibility, like getting cues from the other person and then working with that. And a thing that's important I see with good communication in partnerships, it's this idea that we have a common purpose, and the purpose is very clear. So when you think about that with your partnership with your subconscious, try to make your endeavors be as clear and concise as possible. That helps with the communication, because if you have a goal where it's very clear, this is where we're going, it's a lot easier to communicate, to get that kind of feedback back and forth and partnership. So the more we can do that, the more we can harness the power of the subconscious.
Yeah. So if you think, so as what you're saying there about if you have a partnership where you are cooperating and you have very clear objectives versus all of the things that people do in partnerships that mess things up. If you have a combative relationship with someone else, even if they're clear what you want, if you have a combative relationship, it's going to be hard to get there.
Yeah, there will be a lot of time and energy spent pushing your agenda and they'll be pushing their agenda. So you're going back and forth instead of forward together.
So if you have an internal combative relationship in how you push yourself around,
Yeah.
then you could be using the power of the sun against you.
Yes.
Okay.
Think about that.
Yeah. Is that good for yeah. There's more, and we'll talk about it.
Yes.
Okay.
Get ready, guys. It's exciting.
Okay. See you guys
Okay,
tomorrow.
bye.
Bye.